Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv after a horrific council meeting last night where the city council showed its true colors. They're bought and paid for. They gave the regular people of Fall River the giant finger, and you know which one. They showed their total disregard for the people of Fall River. Listen, I know Leo Pelletier has health problems, but his health problems didn't prevent him from showing up just to nod his head for another rich developer. And I know Kadeem said he had something, but he showed up and he didn't want to he didn't want to tire himself by listening to the people talk about the armory. It really showed very clearly that why the people in this community have to get out and vote. And I see Jeffrey's on there. I spoke to Jeffrey last night. He did a good job at the council articulating why. They don't care. They don't care. And you had Matt Cumber talking about Newton. Newton. That's like comparing a pebble to Mount Fuji. Nobody knows what the circumstances are in Newton. Lynn is kind of like Fall River. They're probably desperate. But Newton, apparently these people don't know what Newton is. It's a bedroom community. These people are all rich people who work in Boston and Cambridge. There's 10,000 more stores, by the way, in Newton than there is in Fall River because of their income. And they don't really care. They don't need a community center. They drive into Boston to go to the theater and stuff. Maybe if the people of Fall River had a household income of $165,000, they wouldn't give a damn about the armory either. And maybe if they had 10,000 more stores to shop in, they wouldn't need something to be used as a community center that had some of the history of Fall River. And I'm going to tell you something. Because people are going to say, well, look. The reality is, Fall River's got a hell of a lot more history to protect. We may not be Newton. We may not have a lot of money. But this community, I can hear the echo. So, CJ, you muted. But this community has history. This community was one of the leading textile cities in the world. We had a lot of blue-collar people, and we've had people that there's something to protect. Look, Newton has always been a satellite of Boston, where all the richies go when the day is done in Boston. Then they go back into Boston for their entertainment. To compare those two is an insult. It's just another con to tell the public, oh yeah, well, everybody's getting $1. You want it for $1? You're getting enough. That was a travesty last night. Those city councilors, and I'll always give credit where credit is due. I don't agree with much Linda's done in the last few turns. But I'm glad she objected last night, because I think a lot of the people in Fall River object, and I want those people to get to the polls on November and vote some of this dead wood out of there. And with that, CJ, I will turn it over to you.
We've always been very non-committal, should I say, in regards to candidate endorsements or how people should vote. But I'm going to break that rule today. I firmly believe that there are 8 city councilors, 8, which should not be reelected, and 2 of them aren't coming back, so that means there's 6. All right? The only person that should be reelected is Michelle Dionne. I could not believe that Andrew Raposa said, Well, the city hasn't presented me with a plan. Before it was I didn't have a return on investment. Now it's the city didn't present me with a plan. So we don't have any long-term plans. I can't make a decision with no long-term plan. Guess what, Andrew? The people said they want it. That's your decision making. Your decision making is not what you believe. Your decision is based upon what the people believe, what the people want. And if you don't hear from them, then you vote your conscience. Laura Washington, same thing. You're supposed to be the advocate for the veterans. This armory was the Veterans Center. It's supposed to be for the veterans. Yet you voted again. You were going to vote for it. Michelle voted no. Sean Kadim and Leo Pelletier decided they didn't want to hear the people talking about it, so they showed up after citizens input time because they didn't want to hear it. Okay, that shows you how much they care about showing up and representing the people. So the hell with them. Okay, they shouldn't get. Sean Kadim shouldn't get reelected. This is getting to be ridiculous, people. You need to vote these people out because they don't represent you, and they gave you the great big FU. Okay, that's what they did, and they don't care. They just don't care.
All right, CJ. No, but you're right. But listen, I always say there's enough bullshit there to build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over. I think it's now a chimney to the sun and have bricks left over. Did you hear Joe Camara saying, "Well, I've been through a lot of mayors and nobody ever had a plan," and Andrew Pro's now saying they didn't give me a plan? Well, guess what, Andrew? It's your job to listen to the people and tell the mayor to have a plan. The first plan in his 2-year administration to do what he said in 2020. Make that armory for the people, but you didn't. You don't belong in that thing. But I'm going to tell you something, Joe. And you pointed out Sutter because he went there and he spoke and he advocated for the city. And good for him. But I'm going to tell you, Joe, that armory wasn't a problem in 2015 when Sutter was the mayor or when Lambert was the mayor. But it was a problem in 2020 when Coogan said he was going to turn it into a place for the city to bring people to downtown. And he didn't do it. He sold out to the market rate developers. If the city had no plan, why did we spend $400,000 on that building? So are you saying you just gave it to them? You just handed $400,000 of taxpayer money over without a plan? They planned to fix the roof, not once, but twice. Did you hold them accountable, Joe Camara? No. You made sure your brother got a job, though, didn't you? Sean Kadim showed up to vote for his rich friends. Apparently, he forgot when he was almost bankrupt. Now he's rich. He's working in Seacock for a couple of $100,000 or nearly a couple of $100,000. And he wants to make friends with his rich pals. Why? You think I forgot when you walked your friends in from Seacock and got them a job in City Hall? I didn't. CJ didn't either. You didn't think a Fall River Wright could fill that job? No, because you guys like to get favors. Leo Pelletier was outside talking to McCumber before he showed up, and he got up like his ass was on fire after Linda objected. He didn't want to be there. He had to be there because then he couldn't ask for favors from the people who have run this city for far too long. We need to repeat 1995 when they bounced 5 people out. You people have got to get out to vote. That last night was a travesty. There was only one councilor in that room that lived up to the oath she took to be the representative and agent of the people and to be accountable to us at all time. And that was Michelle Dionne. Last night was a disgrace. It's machine politics, just like we see in Washington now. They don't care what's right or wrong. They only care about making money. This city is going to go down in flames. Do you think it's a mistake that they delayed the diamond for a year? Because they know we're going to run out of money. So they're going to delay it as long as they can to try to get Coogan back in and these rubber stamps back in. They are supposed to be a check and balance. They are not supposed to agree with the mayor all the time. If he's right, you agree with him. If he's not right, you disagree with him. People, regular people of Fall River, stood up there last night at that meeting and told you that what they wanted, and you ignored them. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody that went to that meeting and spoke about the armory should file an ethics complaint against you, saying you violated your oath of office. You did not represent the people. You represented the rich developers. And that's what you did. And it was disgusting. And the beat goes on, as Kenny said in what he posted. The beat goes on. The rich get richer. And didn't we just get some news today about 71? I'll let you break that one, CJ. Take it away, because again, Paulie, cover up Coogan, didn't tell the public about what's going on, whether it's crime, whether it's Malone, whether it's Perry, whether it's the security head at Durfee, whether it's sexual harassment, whether it's fistfights at Durfee. Paul Coogan doesn't tell you anything. Shut up, pay your taxes. Shut up and pay more fees. Over to you, CJ.
Well, what's very interesting is, Jeff said it earlier, that, I'll put that comment back up. It was pure pressure from the mayor to tell these councilors to vote on it. And Joe Camara said, which told me right away that there was pressure from the mayor. He said, I have not received any pressure from the mayor. The mayor did not put any pressure on me. The mayor did not put any pressure on the city council. Did any city councilor here talk to the mayor and feel they were pressured into this? They were pressured into it by the fact that the mayor sent it down again in violation of the rules and the law, possibly. Okay, that's where the pressure came from. So remember, this mayor is corrupt. And I said it, I asked the question last night. Was this mayor paid off? Could he have been paid off? I think he could have been paid off somehow, whether it be by a favor or whatever. I'm not saying the man's out there taking bribes, but I don't know. I'm asking the question. I have a right to ask that question because he's pushing this item so much without care of what the people want, without care of what the city council voted, and without the care, as long as I get what I want, that's the only thing that matters. That's the way Paulie is. And you got to accept that, people. This man is as corrupt as they come, like it or not, and I firmly believe it. Okay? I don't care how bad people thought Jazel was. At least Jazel wasn't taking money out of the people's mouth. Jazel was taking money from people who wanted to do business in the city. I don't care. Okay? He's paying his penalty, and that's it. But let me tell you something. Paul, you may be sneaking around and getting behind the back of the FBI and everybody else, but you know what? I can see through it. I see through it regularly. And I see it through when you won't even come over and say hello to me. So, and don't worry, I don't cry. That's just the way it is for me. You talked about 71. Well, let me tell you about 71. The city of Fall River has 71 migrant families in our only hotel. 71 migrant families. That could be 2 people, that could be 4 people, that could be 8 people, but that's what it is. And the city of Fall River is only receiving $104 per person per day of the people that send their children to school. And who's paying for the busing? 71 families. So who's paying for the busing? Because these people are at the the old airport area, on the old airport road. They're out there. How many rooms have they taken up? I thought we were going to go for tourism. But no, Paulie wants to let the migrants in Fall River. Come on into Fall River. We'll take you. Martha's Vineyard didn't want them. Get out. Get out. You're here. Get out. We don't want you. But Paul wants to bring them all in. I'm all for humanitarian needs and I'm all for being a humanitarian, but there's got to be a limit. There's got to be a limit. We aren't even housing our own people. That's why we have homeless people living on the streets. But we'll give homeless migrants a place to live and money to eat. But don't worry about it. That poor veteran on the street who doesn't have a place to live and is, scraping money by here and there just to get some food, that's okay. He's only a veteran. He worked for the country. He worked for you, for your freedom. That he doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But the migrants from Venezuela do. This is just so aggravating. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, tell us how you feel, CJ. You kind of like we're on a roll today, baby. But listen, how dare the mayor of the city of Fall River do this without telling the people? How about the burden it's going to put on our teachers? The burden it's going to put on our school system, which is already failing. And by the way, this morning I found out that Fall River went from the 335th in the state to 336th. So we went down a notch. So now there's only 15 cities and towns that are worse than us, not 16. So now they can make an excuse for that. Your administrators, your high-paid administrators, all your supervisors that you made aren't going to suffer the burden. But the teachers are going to suffer the burden. They're going to have children who are... I know in Somerset they're having problems. Some of these Haitians that they got over there, they speak like 4 or 5 different languages and none of them are English. They speak Haitian, they speak French, because we all know that Haitians do speak French. But some of them, before they got to the United States, they made a stop in Brazil or somewhere in South or Central America, and some of them speak Spanish and Haitian, Brazilian and Haitian. And now you're going to overwhelm our school systems without even telling the public. And who's going to pay? Your rich little friends? No, they're not, because most of them live out of town. And they're going to take their rents, stick it in the bank, take their TIFs, and the people in Fall River are going to get screwed again. And that city council, except for Michelle Dionne, are accessories before, during, and after the fact. They are selling this city down the river. And I can guarantee you, and I'm a betting man, I picked up a Powerball ticket today. It's 170 billion or something like that.
1.7 billion.
Yeah, $172 billion. So I bought a scratch ticket. I'll never hit. I don't think I bought a lot of them. I think I hit like twice. I got $2 once and $4 the other time. So, but I can tell you one thing, Paul. If I hit $1.72 billion, you better bar the door. I'm going to hire an entire army of lawyers to sue you for everything you've done. Like you're continuing to pick up trash in violation of a city order for businesses. You continue to give pay raises on top of the pay raise that you gave in direct violation of state law, not only city, but state statute. When the city council said no to your pay raises for your chief of staff and the rest of your staff, and you still gave them a pay raise. And they also put in, they sent you a letter that said stop picking up private trash. And that's what you do. Shut up, don't talk about it. But the people of Fall River should know all this. It's still going on. And when is it going to stop? When are you ever going to tell the people of Fall River what is going on in their own city? Never. Suppressing crime statistics, covering up everything. But I know where you came from. You came from the master, the kingdom of cover up, the school department, who has been doing this for decades. Ed reform meant you've got a rogue kingdom in your own community that you can cover up crap with. This has got to stop, people. This has got to stop. You have to get to the polls and get these people out of there. These people don't care about this community. And they're all rich enough to move out once it crashes and burns. McCumber talked about a dollar armory at Newton. Well, Newton can afford a lot at $165,000. But you know where a dollar couldn't, even for a dollar they couldn't sell a house? Detroit. Because it was such a mess. And that's what's going to happen to Fall River. You couldn't sell the armory for a dollar. You won't be able to sell the armory in 5 years in Fall River because it's going to be Detroit, not Newton. And this is ridiculous. And what's happening now, and now these immigrants coming in, they're not immigrants, they're illegals. I don't want to hear that. Everybody came here from somewhere, but they came here legally. And the Indians who came across the Great Ice Bridge from Asia, in case you don't know anything about anthropology and history, there was no border then. They just wandered over, and so now they're considered indigenous. But everybody that lives here now is indigenous. But everybody's parents, grandparents, great-parents, and parents going back to the Mayflower came to this country, but they entered it legally. Of course, the Mayflower, we didn't have the border we had because we weren't the United States, so let's not get technical. But historically, everybody came here. We have borders, or we're supposed to have borders, and we're seeing what's happening to all these cities in the United States from the government failing to do its duty on the federal level and stopping. 8 million and the border is closed, but now we're going to build something. And look at what's happening in Israel. The atrocities happening in Israel. And we have let, I forgot what the number was, over 150 terrorists in this country, known terrorists. Plus, we've got 1.5 million gotaways, and we don't know how many terrorists there are in this country. We don't know how many terrorists we got living in Fall River now. You know what we should do? Somebody should go up when a bus comes in and give them directions to Fiola's backyard. Tell them if you need to pitch a tent, here's some directions.
And here's the tent.
And yeah, we'll give them the tent too. See how quickly. I'll bet you they'll be out of there faster than the illegals got bounced out of Martha's Vineyard. So with that, CJ, over to you. And as you can see, I'm on a roll today, and I am infuriated because one thing that pisses me off is when the people we elect to represent us have a giant dump on us.
Yeah, it seems like everybody took a Dukalax in the city council chamber and just said, "Here you go, guys." It's terrible. I mean, you elect these people to represent you, and you don't get it. And you have to think, why did I bother voting for you? Why do I keep voting for you? Why do you keep voting for these people? I have not voted for anyone that's been on that council for more than 2 terms. And for the most part, I don't vote for anyone that's been on that council for more than 1 term, it seems. Okay? I think Michelle Dionne will be the first elected official that I have voted for more than twice. I don't vote people back in. I'm a firm believer that at this point in time, Fall River needs more than anything else term limits. 2 for mayor, 2 for city council. I don't want to hear 4 for mayor. I don't want to hear, 3 for mayor, 2 for mayor, and 2 for the city council. And that's it. And then we'll have to have change because we'll have to be electing new people. Because people like Sean Kadim, Andrew Raposo, Linda Pereira, Leo Pelletier won't be able to, Brad Kilby won't be able to run again with term limits. But you'll notice that the people who were appointed, you'll notice I said appointed to the Charter Commission Review Board, did not talk about term limits, which is what everyone in the city is talking about. Because again, these people are appointed by the mayor. Therefore, they have to kiss his ass. And that's what happens in Fall River. The mayor has too much power in the appointment of people. I firmly believe that all boards, all commissions should be elected. Our ballot will be big, but guess what? People will have to run for those jobs, and it won't be based upon how much money you gave my campaign or how much you've kissed my ass, because that's what it is. It's a bunch of ass kissing, and we see it all the time. I see more people in government center with brown lips than I know what to do with. And it gets to be sad that that's what our government is now. Our government is just who knows who can pay who, and who can do the most for me. And that's the way it works.
Well, CJ, let me tell you, I wonder, and because we've seen it happen throughout this country now, we've seen murders, we've seen rapes, we've seen drunken driving incidents from these illegals who don't have to show any ability to read street signs or anything else. And what happens if we see some crime perpetrated by these people? Do you think that we're going to be told it was done by an illegal? Of course not. They're not going to tell you. We're number one in crime already, by the way. We got 23 stats. We're still number one in the state. We were number one in 22. We're number one in 23 in crime. So now what are we going to be? Number one plus? You think you ever get an accurate picture of what's going on in this city? No. All you get is spin. Their spin. And CJ, I know we need term limits, but realistically we shouldn't. Because the people should impose term limits. You don't do the job, you get booted out into the street. And as you said, I got a letter as a veteran. I should have, actually, it's in the other room.
I read that letter.
Yeah, that's right. I let you read it, and it was signed by the veterans agent asking me as a fellow veteran what they're going to do this and they're going to do that and they're going to do this. And of course, it's an election year. So this is, I didn't get a letter like that for the last 3 years because I would have noticed it. But I'll tell you who else signed it. Laura Washington, city councilor. I wonder if that's an ethical violation. She's using that as a campaign promo for herself. And you said she's something like the liaison for the veterans, but I think Linda Pereira's also that. I didn't see Linda Pereira's name on there because she doesn't need the help to get elected. And as you said, someone who's supposed to be a veterans advocate voted to ditch a place that was going to be used to help veterans. So maybe somebody speaks out of more orifices than just their mouth. Because these people are nothing more than hypocrites. They want to stay in power just like they do in Washington. They don't care about the people. They don't give two shits about anybody except money and power. And these people who are leaving the council, and shame on Pamela Liberté LeBeau. You could have made one of the last things you did as a councilor be standing up for the people of Fall River. But instead, what are you doing? Looking for a real estate favor? I don't know. That's a rhetorical question. What's Leo looking for? I don't know. How much did Coogan get? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. They must be getting something to totally abandon the people of Fall River and never not have enough consideration of people of the city to ever be transparent about anything. And with that, CJ, I will turn it back to you.
Well, we've spent a half an hour tearing apart the city council, showing how much the mayor does not tell us anything, how much he's hiding. I mean, nobody in Fall River knew about the illegals coming to Fall River. Nobody. It made today's Herald News, finally. And Fall River is number 2 in the region. We had the second highest population. You know who's got the most? Oh, it's 162? Taunton. Taunton. Again, a gateway city. You notice the gateway cities are being shit all over again? It's always us. Well, I don't know why, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, don't trust your politicians because they don't care about you. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday.